Welcome back, episode 5, Broken Boney, hosted by yours truly, AJ Metzen. This is sponsored, hosted, whatever you want to call it, by Banter. We're available on all major streaming platforms, so if you want to listen to my dumbass talk for 20 or 30 minutes, you can find me on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the whole nine. Leave a like, subscribe, give a review, good, bad, the ugly. We'll take it, run with it, make it better. Appreciate you all for listening. Super excited for this episode today. Before we get to my 3-week hiatus, we have a special guest, first ever interview, one of my best friends, old roommate, Jaydon Hamilton. I think you guys are going to really like this one. This is a longer episode, but trust me, it's really worth it. We go into all our crazy, wild, dumb, stupid stories. Usually we run to the influence, but they're hilarious nonetheless. I think you guys get an absolute kick out of it. So stay tuned for that. We'll be cutting to him shortly. Quickly, I went home for 2 weeks, for Thanksgiving. Had a blast, saw the family, caught up with them. We're in stage 2 now, so everything's closed again, so there's no real reason to be here, even though I am back. But I got to go home, spend some time with the buddies, drink probably a little bit more than we should, shoot the shit. We had an awesome time. I'm super happy to be back. My hiatus was, honestly, I was lacking content. I didn't want to put out some subpar episode for you guys, so I thought I would wait a little bit, try and get some new material. Midterms also hit. The mid-semester also hit like crazy, hit me like a wall. I felt like just last week it was September. Now we're in the midst of October. I am currently stressing over exams. My exams are now proctored, which is absolutely mortifying, and it's 10 times more stressful than it would be if I was in class. I mean, you can't blink, laugh, sneeze, think, move at all without getting your exam flagged. So you're under constant watch, and it's 10 times more strict than it would be in class. But nonetheless, we also got assignments. And before I cut this interview, we got to clarify something in case you're one of these people. And I talked about the people who interrupt classes and do all that garbage last episode. This episode, we're going to talk about students who just are MIA for group projects. I already don't like group projects that much. I mean, I don't mind them if I get the right group, but this year we don't get to pick. He randomly assigns. So I got assigned with my one buddy, thank God, 2 randoms. But the 2 randoms are nowhere to be found. And I don't know how year after year they keep passing, because I've heard from before that they don't like to do the work. But, I mean, if they're obviously not tuning in for the Zoom classes and the assignments, they're clearly not going on the website. So I can't even get a hold of them. It's annoying as hell, but we're still trying to work through it. It's just hilarious that, I don't know how people do it, how they just literally just show up for the exams, think they're going to pass, but God bless them. That's my struggle for the week. Coming up now, we're going to kick it over to my pal, Jaydon Hamilton. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this episode. Sit back, grab a beer, enjoy it. We'll see you guys next time. Okay, welcome to the first ever interview on Broken Boney. This is my good pal, like I said, my old roommate, Jaydon Hamilton. I'm going to act like a middle-aged professor in college trying to do an icebreaker. Jaydon, give us your name, full name, where you're from, one interesting thing you did this summer, and your social insurance number.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for having me, AJ. It's a fucking pleasure. Obviously, my name is Jaydon Hamilton. I am from a little small town known as Trenton that probably no one knows about. And one interesting thing that I did this summer, well, actually, I saw some of the nicest cottages in the Sault Ste. Marie this summer, which was it was such an experience. We've been
having this debate for ongoing 4 years. Jaydon does not believe that we call them camps, and he thinks when I say I'm going to camp that I'm attending a sports camp at the YMCA.
Not necessarily. When I think of camp, you're like pitching a tent. That's like camping. Like
camping is different.
You're using the same word though.
Once you add the ing, it's a totally different experience.
Okay.
So you've been to cottages then? Like our definition of a cottage is a year-round home that has electricity, Wi-Fi, a working television, and it's not run on gas or propane, whatever you want to call it.
I would say a cottage is like a summer home that you would go to, that's usually on the lake, or it's nicer.
See, the debate we've been having is because Muskoka is like, you go to Muskoka and Sault Ste. Marie are like 2 very different ends of the world, especially financially. Like cottages are those are legit mansions to us. That's the issue. Okay. So that's why the camp thing is like, everyone down here gets it. I mean, when you go up north, they'll be like, no, the cottage is like, you're bougie, you have millions of dollars and you can afford to live there year round and not freeze your ass off in the middle of winter.
It's definitely an agree to disagree kind of situation because it's just what we like, where we've grown up and what we've known.
I'm right. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
One question, and I think this is probably a good story. The how we met story in first year of college. Give us your backstory, your take on that.
Well, yeah, I was in class and I was sitting in the front row, because I'm like, I think it was second semester of first year. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit in the front row.
No, it was first semester, first year.
Was it?
Yeah, because we did the Christmas thing.
Oh, right. It was.
Yeah, we met first day. We played beer pong against each other at the first house party I ever went to. And I was with Jared.
And and that's when we didn't know each other.
No, I had no clue.
I definitely won that game.
No, there was no shot. Me and Jared, he did a celebration after each shot he hit. It was super embarrassing, but I
was going to say, you have Jared as a partner. It's probably a wrap.
It was first semester, the party. And then
right.
Obviously I walked into class, saw you, and I was like, you were sitting front row, like the good student, probably the first and only time you ever sat front row and wanted to get attention.
Yep.
And unfortunately it was the only seat left in the class where I could sit.
That was since I became friends with you, that was the last time I sat in the front row. It was just downhill from there for my academics.
Yeah, the grades just plummeted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we had that stupid project together where we met everyone else, basically everyone in res. You were the only guy that didn't live in res.
Yeah, I didn't get into res in first year because my hometown's like an hour and a half, and I applied to college kind of late, so I didn't get into res. So I lived in a basement apartment down the road, so it was hard for me to like meet people. And I remember I had this group with some people that I did know. We needed one more person, and I was like, all right, well, this guy AJ, like he seems pretty chill. Let's ask him to be in our group. And I remember I
just switched the old audio there. It's there we go. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I remember I tracked you down. I ran after you into the cafeteria or whatever. And
yeah, you and like, that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, "Yay, do you want to be in our group?"
And it didn't even really start there. We were like partners and we talked in class for a bit, but it never was anything more than that.
No, it was pretty just like an academic relationship. We were just chilling. We were there to do our work.
Probably should have stayed that way, to be honest. Based on the shit we've had.
So
that was how we first met. And then the first night where we truly met was the night of, what was that shitty bar down the road called? Placebo. Because we went, the two girls in our class were like, do you want to go to the Christmas market? So we were like, yeah, and we still didn't really know each other, so we went to the Christmas market and we shot the shit and basically were their personal photographers for the day.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, well, we want to go to this bar after. And we went to the LCBO, and I don't know if this is the most infamous part of the story, and I still can't drink it to this day. We got a 2.6 of JD Honey.
Shot for shot.
Yeah, we went back to my res room. I signed them in, and they went to go get ready. So we got ready in like 15 minutes. They took 3 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Convenient enough, the Celtics and Raptors were playing that night, which has been an ongoing debate. And I think we went down to my cafeteria to get like a chase. Like we went down and get like a 2-liter thing of Coke, but it was piss warm.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was piss warm. Yeah. So we put it in the fridge, and it had to have been you that just initiated.
You're not a big shot guy.
No liquor whatsoever.
But it was more so like, all right, we knew we were getting into one that night. So we're like, fuck it. Let's have
we originally planned though. We're like, yeah, we'll just have 1 or 2, wait for the Coke to cool down, and then we'll mix it.
It was never supposed to be like that. Well, I didn't make it out that night.
I shouldn't have made it out that night.
There's a video of me just lying on your bedroom floor face down, and I'm literally I look dead. I'm dead.
I tried to wake you up. I also thought, I honestly surprised that night was a complete wrap, and then I went back to my room and you were just passed out there.
And then I drink
liquor.
And then I think the next weekend, or maybe even the next night, we drank again, and you didn't make it out, and it was like a total reverse role. It was the same thing. We drank way too much. And you didn't make it out, and I was like, wow.
My record when drinking liquor is just abysmal. It's got to be like easily below 500. My birthday weekend when we took the one last year.
Oh yeah.
We took the one tequila shot, and I was completely sober. Took one tequila shot to celebrate, and I projectile vomited all over my table in front of a bunch of randoms.
I don't think I've laughed that hard in a while.
You got a video of that too. That's the embarrassing part.
Yeah, sober. You hadn't drank anything.
Told you my record is abysmal.
I think it was just you kept it in your mouth for too long. You were like thinking about it, and
yeah,
then
it was.
Your roommate at the time was pissed.
Yeah, she was mad. And then, with that night we went out, and Sean, my sister, joined us, and she's like, it was my birthday weekend, so she bought me a tequila shot, and Jaydon looked at me, but thankfully I had more in my system, and he looked at me, he's like, this is not like, this won't be easy. We're at Gracie's of all places. Greasy. Yeah. The best place and the greasiest place on earth.
Gracie's, but hey, you always end up there.
No, my record, unless it's a vodka cran, I can't drink it. But Jaydon always charged me for that. I've been roasted a few times. There's a girl who straight up called me out. Been called out at the bar several times. One time was for drinking vodka crans because apparently that's not masculine to do. And then the other time, remember we were at Gracie's and the girl like tapped me on the shoulder.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Tapped me on the shoulder. She's like, "How tall are you?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm 6'6", like thinking it was like an asset. And she's like, and Jaydon and my other buddy Boris turn around. She goes, "You're a freak." And that's been a running joke for years to come.
Oh gosh.
There's too many of those.
I can't believe a random person came up to you just to ask you how tall you were to roast the shit out of you.
Listen,
by calling you a freak
for a minute. I was on cloud. I thought, you know what, this girl, she probably likes the height. It's an asset. Like I said, no, she literally just called me a freak and walked away, and that was the end of that.
That's probably the only time you've ever experienced your height to be a disadvantage.
When we were trying to find a basement apartment for dirt cheap and I couldn't fit.
Yeah, that's a problem.
We wasted most of our time. We'd walk down, we'd find a place, we'd go there, we'd get downstairs, and then neither of us fit.
No,
other than Grady. Grady could fit perfectly, but our necks were like tilted.
Yeah, Grady's what, like 5'10", so it's a little bit more easy.
He was comfortable, and like I was like, but we'd get there and we all didn't want to be like inconvenient because the guy clearly like came all the way to show us his house, and we're like, so I'm walking around with my head tilted to the side and like just
my neck's broken.
Oh, what a great shower you guys have. Yeah, that room is massive. It's like I'm not living here unless you're paying for my chiropractic surgery.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how's quarantine been for you? Personal life, what's it like? Give people a little update on you.
It's been slow. I mean, just like everything, everyone's kind of going through the same thing. I bartend at a restaurant downtown, but I just recently got laid off back in March when everything kind of happened and, sports world shut down. So I hadn't been working. I went home for probably 2.5 months and wanted to blow my brains out. I forgot what it's like living at home, and trust me, taking for granted a hot meal. I will never take for home cooked meal. You can't get anything better than that. But when you're going upstairs for a water at 10:30 p.m. and you can't make any noise because your parents hate you. It's just a little bit like it's frustrating. You're not used to it because you haven't done it. Like I haven't lived at home in 4 years, right? So
tell them your cool flex that you were gladly a part of the NHL bubble. Almost the reason it came down as a joke.
Yeah, so I have 2 jobs. I bartend in a VIP lounge at the Scotiabank Arena, which is super cool. I'm super fortunate to be there, and it's a super cool experience. And when the sports shut down, we got laid off, nothing was going on, but the NHL got, Toronto was a hub city. So it came back for the Eastern Conference, the remaining games in the Eastern Conference playoffs. And I was fortunate enough to be able to work some of that, which was super cool. So I served some of the players and the GMs and the executives and all that. I mean, they weren't there to drink or anything, they're there. You
guys are wondering why the Leafs didn't play so well. It's because Jaydon got them absolutely hammered at Scotiabank Field every other night.
Yeah, we were partying every weekend.
So you got him to blame for your playoff woes this year.
No, the Leafs, they made some good moves this offseason. We're excited for next season. We'll see. It's gonna be fun.
It's into the disappointing mind of a Leafs fan.
Oh, I know. You can't. It's starting to be like, you know what? You just can't expect anything good anymore.
Quarantine wasn't bad though. I feel like we made it work. I mean, even though you're home, the one you came over, I remember my mom got absolutely livid at me when she found out Jaydon came over, thought he had COVID, and she was not thrilled. She was on that strict grind.
Yeah, we had a couple times. We had couple drinks.
We every other night we'd get half snapped and beef 13-year-old kids on NHL 20.
Yep.
Get into it.
Played a lot of NHL 20. I was so bored. I bought a PS4 during quarantine. so that
After he already sold his, believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of video games, but I was so bored that it came to the point we got a couple of consistent guys to play NHL 20, and wow, was it ever fun? Like it was pretty cool.
That was like the downfall of my drinking woes, where I think every other night I'd go to the beer store and then we'd all hop on, and it was an absolute riot. It's a lot of 13-year-old beefs, though.
My parents definitely thought I was an alcoholic. They were like, this guy's going to the LCBO every other day, coming home with like 2-3 bottles of wine.
Oh yeah, you were home, so they actually saw what you were drinking.
Oh yeah.
See, my mom had no clue. I'd just tell her I had 2 or 3 Bud Lights. That's it.
No, I couldn't cover it up. And then like I had to, you have to bring it upstairs the next morning. And they're just looking at you. And I'm like, it's like a walk of shame.
What's wrong with this kid?
Coming up hungover as fuck at noon, 1 p.m. And they're like,
I mean, my mom likes a good drink. I don't know about that much. I had like $70 in empties. I could have built like 3 Stanley Cups worth of Bud Light.
I remember your little tower.
Yeah, my little tower. I mean, the quarantine radio. I was definitely not sober for that. You hopped on there.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that, and it was funny, but like if I were to watch back now, damn, that'd be so cringy.
Yeah. That kind of sprouted your a little bit more of your interest in the podcast.
My fame, yeah. The bar.
Your fame.
Okay, the best thing I gotta ask, what's the best story you can remember? And I'm sure there's gonna be about 15 of them.
Best story I can remember for us two.
Yeah, involving us two.
Man, there's so many. I don't know.
The one I will say is probably my favorite is the double date, the alleged double date.
The double date. That one's a good one, and that one's PG-13 too. So
it is PG-13.
We're allowed to say that one.
It was. I met a girl, and she's like, they went to this grimy bar down the road, Sloppy Joe's, the best place on earth for absolutely all occasions. We went down there, and she's like, "Oh, do you have a friend?" And I was like, "Yeah, my roommate Jaydon." And she's like, "Oh, okay, I'll bring my friend." So me and him had probably 1 or 2 beers before. We walked down the road, and we walked down the road, and about 2 minutes from the bar, the girl goes, "Yeah, so my friend actually bailed." And I'm like, "Well, shit, like, what do we do now?" She's like, "Yeah, just come." And we did proceed to come, and I we got absolutely loaded at Sloppy Joe's. I think we got like 2 or 3 pitchers each, and like the whole time, yeah, it was like she didn't drink at all. Like she had very minimal.
The fact that we were both that lonely to be like, well, listen, it's not a double date anymore, but we should still both go and be on a fucking date with this girl. The fact that we were that lonely is so sad to me.
She was probably like nervous. She's like, what the hell do I do now?
Like I'm thinking back. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, why didn't I be like, I should just go home? Like,
we didn't even second guess it though. And I didn't say like, go home. Like we didn't second guess it. We just both showed up and proceeded to order pitcher. She was like, cool though. It went well. It just, we realized like very too late that she had like 1 or 2 drinks and we've been like 1 or 2 pitchers each.
Yeah, cause she said, she's like, come back to my place. We'll like drink some more. And we're like, great. Yeah, 100%. And you and I are like in the bag and she's like, we get back to her house. I don't even think she had a drink. She's like, no, I haven't really drank tonight.
She made us play drunk Jenga.
Yeah, just the 2 of us.
Yeah, and she like played, but she didn't drink. And then she was just feeding us shots.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
And then my one buddy came home, Chance. I didn't even know he lived there. He comes in. He's like, what are you 2 idiots doing here? Like, well, believe it or not, we're on a double date. And the guy's like, where's the other girl? I'm like, oh, no, she never showed up like at all.
It's not a double date.
No, it's not a double date. It's actually just me and Jaydon on a date. And this girl just happened to be, she was basically like our watch party. Like she was making sure we got home okay.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we Ubered home at like 4 a.m.
That was an interesting night.
You've had a couple interesting stories, haven't you?
I have.
The most infamous one. I mean, you can take this one away.
Yeah. Okay, so this was, man, what it would have been second year, right?
Second year, first year living together.
Grady
was pissed.
Yeah. It was me, you, and Grady. So my boys from my hometown came up for the weekend, and we were super pumped to go out and have a good weekend. We ended up going to Tequila Jacks, which I hate that I'm even saying it out loud because the thought
best place
of it,
on earth.
No, the thought
now
of it
closed.
Oh yeah, thank the Lord. Whoever made that decision is that's
Save Jaydon's college career.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, the gist of the story is I got too drunk. It was the last thing I remember is taking a tequila shot, and then I woke up in the hospital with no shirt on, no shoes, no socks, my health card taped to my wrist, no phone, no wallet. And the story is, I guess I tried to get back into the bar at like 2:30, and the bouncer was like, no, obviously you can't. And I guess I tried to kind of like push by him, being super arrogant, whatever. And he tackled me and my buddy, and I get tackled we're on the street on Adelaide. Yeah. And for everyone who knows, it's a pretty small street. And at that time, like 2 to 2:30, there's like so many people out there waiting for Ubers, deciding to go get food, whatever they're doing. And me and my buddy got tackled. He was like, he was sober enough to be like, yeah, okay, I can get up. Like, I'm fine. I wasn't. There's a video of me on the ground, like face down, getting handcuffed with 2 police officers on horses circling me. I'm like this big threat, apparently.
Jaydon has now crippling fear of horse cops when we go downtown.
Oh, it's a running brutal joke. So anyway, I thought I was gonna go to the drunk tank, but I was too drunk for the drunk tank. That's
been the saying.
That's my flex. No,
the flex, and also
yeah, but I woke up in the hospital, and I asked the one nurse, and I was like, hey, like, how did I get here? Because I had no idea. I was so hungover, so out of it. And she's like, well, apparently you hit your head at the bar last night and they had to bring you in. And I looked at my face in the mirror in the bathroom, and my face is just covered in dried blood. It was brutal. I was supposed to work that morning. Like, it
didn't happen. Mind you, I went home, like the story I told earlier on is like, when I want to go home, I go home. Like, I don't tell people. It's not a good trait, but I just leave. So that night I left after I don't know how many tequila shots, but I made the executive decision to go home. And here I am. So all of Jaydon's buddies were up. It was the first time I met all of them. I went home, passed out, went to bed. I woke up. They're all chilling in the living room, all like hungover, half asleep. And I walk in there, I go, where's Jaydon? And they're like, oh, well, you weren't there. I'm like, no, I went home super early. Like, well, he's either in jail or in the hospital. We don't really know. And I'm like, what do you mean? So here I am for like 4 hours trying to entertain his buddies who were all hungover. We're like trying to figure out what the hell's going on. We couldn't get a hold of them. And then Natalie went and picked you up. And then I remember walking in the driveway, and we were all like staring out the window, like some fugitive was coming. And we were like, is he going to be pissed off? And he wasn't. He walked in, he laughed it off. I don't know where I have a funny video, but you laughed it off. And then you proceeded to sleep for the next 8 hours.
I had a really long sleep, but I ended up drinking that night.
Yeah, too. we went out.
We drank again because it was the Saturday night. We drank again.
Every time they came up, something happens. I mean, we had it was Tequila Jacks again.
It seems as though every time you leave the bar, do you remember when you left and I was actually sober, and I think this was at Tequila Jacks again, like the worst place ever. 2 guys tried to fight me.
Oh my God, because they were hitting on Natalie and things.
Yeah, 2 guys tried to fight me for no reason, because the girls we were with usually would say like, oh, if they were getting hit on, they'd be like, that's my boyfriend, right? Or like, this is my boyfriend. Like, using us, we were fine with it. We're like, we obviously don't want you to get hit on by like sleazy guys.
Some greasy guys that the Tequila Jacks just brings out the absolute grease in everyone. Dudes are just grabbing, touching, like the weirdest shit. It's just cringy if you watch from afar.
It's not okay. Like, it was probably 70% guys every time.
Yeah. Oh my God. The only place you saw girls was on that elevated stage that occasionally we get up on and pretend like we could dance.
Occasionally.
Yeah, it was every time.
I
was trying to spare it. Yeah.
No, it was bad. Yeah, it was every time. We own that stage, bro.
I'm telling you. But that night, yeah, I remember you came back and you're like, "Where'd you go?" I was like, "I left."
I borrowed your white shirt
and didn't come back in one piece.
It was all ripped to shit.
Yeah, those guys. Well, yeah, based on their. I remember you told me that like they came up to you and you're like, "So where are your girlfriends?" And we're like,
"Yeah, I was at the ATM, and I wasn't even drinking a lot that night. Like, I was pretty sober, luckily, because it probably would have been a lot worse if I was drinking more. But I was at the ATM and I was getting money out, and this guy taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, "Hey, what are you good?" And he's like, "Oh, like, where's your girlfriend?" And I was like.
Real offended that you have one.
Yeah, and like his other buddy's standing there looking at me like he's tough too, and they're both like, "Oh, so I see you have multiple girlfriends on the dance floor, eh?" And I was like, listen, man, like, you don't want me, like, we're good. You're fine. Like, they just didn't want to dance with you. Just like, get over it. And then I remember, he said something and I said something and he shoved me like into the ATM. And then it was just.
It's every man for himself at that
point.
point.
100%.
Still disappointed I wasn't there just to, I don't know.
Oh, it definitely would have been more fun. Not that we're trying to get into trouble, but.
No, absolutely not. But when it comes, Tequila Jacks.
Yeah, if someone's going to.
Times.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we've had several good times.
Yeah, notoriously.
Yeah, like looking back, they weren't good times, but at the time they were. Well, there was a time when I remember we all went with your buddies, and somehow literally every person was on their own. And the guy wouldn't let me in because I don't know why. So this random group of people were like, hey, you can come to our booth. So, and Tequila Jacks, if you know what the booth, it's not a booth. It's literally a table, and they just bring you a bottle of vodka and cranberry.
It's nothing special.
And Jaydon, I was like looking for him all night. Didn't know where he was, texting him, like trying to figure out where he was. We find out the next day we were in the bar at the same time. Nobody knew. We all Ubered home. You Ubered home in like the deluxe Uber that costed $1,500.
Oh yeah, I accidentally ordered the Select.
Yeah,
and we rolled up in this like nicer car. I obviously didn't realize, and I ended up charging me like double. What
you're like trying to figure out why you paid for an extreme limousine or whatever.
Yeah, my own stupid fault. But yeah, the reason we did go a lot was because Natalie, our friend, was like
you get us drinks
guest list or whatever. She worked there for like the couple of years in college, so it was like convenient, and we got in for free, and then we get some drinks. Like she kind of hooked us up a little bit. Which
looking back now, guest list was literally just it was
nothing.
Yeah, you see it now. Like, not that I get on guest list or anything, but you see what guest list is now, and it's like she just texted us to be like, tell us who's all coming and we'll just get you in for free. And it was like, yeah, that was pretty much you saved the $5 cover or the $15 cover, whatever it is. Just still ridiculous. We went from once Gracies closed down, it moved right, or not Gracies. Once Tequila Jacks closed down, we moved to Gracies, which is equally as greasy, but I would say
equal as greasy.
But we had fun. We always swore, like every other night we were like, we're not going to Gracies. Like
the one night I was okay with going to Gracie's was Thursdays, because it was we could get in for free with our student card.
Pay the bouncer because we never got that time.
True. Oh my God, the amount of $20 bills that bouncer got from me is ridiculous. He'd literally charge, and he would know what he's doing too. So smug. He's looking at us. He's like, "Yeah, $20 a head if you want to cut the line."
And then you were instantly hated by everyone who didn't want to pay the $20 because they're waiting in the freezing cold.
Yeah, and I mean, like, hey, listen. If you're not trying to wait in the cold, like it was our fault. We didn't come early enough, and we knew every time.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I don't want to go. That was like bunny hop. Like, I don't want to go bunny hop. I had a buddy. He goes, yeah, I want to try it out one time, or what was it, 12 bars? And I was like, I'll never do that again.
No, it was, I'm happy I did it. I'm happy I experienced
absolutely.
it. Like, we had good times, but the whole thing in itself is just, like we skipped the first 3 bars because they start at like 5:00, which is fine, but you're really not trying to spend that much money.
I don't have the longevity for
maybe
that.
we're just cheap.
It's definitely because we're cheap. The title
we're absolutely
broke, so it was he was telling me, and I'm like, no, like it was a one-time thing, do it once, but like you would get there and it was an hour a bar, and then you'd have to walk in the freezing cold. We did 12 bars. It was a nightmare. I mean, we skipped 2 of them, went to Subway, and then we met up, and it was just like they were like, because they always advertised with like cheap shots, but it was stuff that was like, it was awful. I mean, you spent a gazillion dollars, and
it was pretty extra.
It was packed to the max. Everyone's wearing red shirts. You can't find anyone. I mean, if you lose someone, you're screwed because everyone looks the same. Other than, unless you're a freak who gets called out at the bar.
Unless you're 6'6".
Well, it's a subtle flex. We don't speak about that.
That girl didn't think it was a flex.
No, she thought I was a freak, like extra dress. I'll tell you, the wacky wavy inflatable. My buddy posted a story of one, tagged me in it, and I was like, you're just ridiculous. Just the chirps that come my way, but...
Hey, makes you stronger, eh? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. No, we've had a couple Gracies, the whole 9. I tell you, people didn't believe that whole NHL story.
Yeah, that was.
I think some people. I mean, some people did thought it was crazy, but I know some people in the back of their mind are like, "There's no way that happened." And I'm telling you right now. I mean, CJ was there too. I forgot about CJ was there. He was quiet in the dark, but
he was.
That guy was arrogant.
Oh yeah, and it started at Earl's.
Everything now starts at Earl's. Earl's is honestly low-key the new Tequila Jacks. Stuff happens at Earl's now.
It's the breeding ground for so I work at Earl's, and one of my coworkers actually had to kick AJ out.
Yeah, because this guy, that was ridiculous. You know what? We got to talk about that because arrogant dudes at the bar piss me off. I was having an intellectual conversation with this guy about business. Honest to God, we were sitting it, and this one Australian, he's a regular, isn't he?
The one guy that chirped you was a regular.
Yeah. We're sitting at the bar. I'm literally having like this 40-year-old man. He's from Chicago. Like he was on a business trip. We were just talking about sports and stuff because when I drink, I talk to literally everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and this guy comes, sits down. He goes, "Hey man, shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "Dude, why you gotta tell him?" Like this guy's an innocent 40-year-old man from Chicago. He's got a wife and kids.
He definitely initiated it, but you are no stranger. You were no stranger to giving it back.
No,
you were mad, and you were like, you were drunk enough where you're like, all right, buddy, like, I'm not gonna kind of take this shit. So words were exchanged.
I also knew I wasn't going outside with him. That's a damn fact. I was getting the hell out of there.
Like technically, I got kicked out of my own work because of you, basically. Which
that night? Oh yeah, you were there.
I was with you. We were drinking. God. Yeah,
that was the TFC night where we were just bar hopping everywhere. Yeah. No, screw that guy. I apologize to the bar. I felt so bad. I remember I told Ethan, I was like, man, I'm absolutely mortified. That was a disaster.
He said, he was like, no, I remember he was talking about it to me after, and he was like, nah, it's all good. He's like, I just can't like escalate, and I
definitely know I rub my mouth when I'm drunk though. It's not a good quality, but
absolutely.
I also know damn well no matter how much I drink, I'm not going outside and fighting a dude from Australia. There's no amount in me that will.
Oh, you would have got your ass beat.
Know my limits. He was good. He stayed there too. I haven't seen him since. Earl's it's another mysterious place. I mean, been there one too many times. That was like the pre-drink place. If you just go and drink for cheaper than anything else, and then we'd go to these bougie bars that I knew no one.
It's a good spot. I mean, like
the Toronto scene. It's a Toronto scene.
A little bit.
You're adequate with the Toronto scene now. Would you say?
Yeah, I've adapted? Yeah, working at Earl's, I've met a lot of people that have come and go from other bars. So it's kind of expanded my horizons from first and second year of us just going to Gracies, which is I'm happy about that. But
that's what I text you now. I'm like, yo, where do I go? Like I'm going on a date. I'm like, where do I go? I have all these bars. I've never been to so many different random little local bars, and everyone in there honestly were super bougie, but like the people that I met were cool. But
yeah, I mean, depends on what you're looking for. But
I remember the one night I texted you, me and my buddy were at King Taps, went for drinks, and we went to Laval. And I texted you about Laval because we found these people. They're like, what are you guys doing? Like this group of people? And we're like, nothing. So he's like, well, we're going with you. We went to Laval, and that place is unbelievable. I was in a flannel.
I definitely told you not to go too.
Yeah,
I know you guys were already there, but you were asking me about Laval, and I was like, man, that place, like, it will eat your bank account up. And
I remember that. I was literally like, I get there, and the bouncer's like, it's like 12:31. Like literally there's an hour left. And the bouncer goes, yeah, it'll be $35 to get in. I'm like, okay, no. And he already paid, all the group paid. I'm like, well, now I look like a loser. I guess I'll pay $35. You have to take it's a elevator, but it's like 20 floors, is it not? Am I tripping?
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
24 elevated out like thing. And I walk up there and I'm in a flannel. Like, get this, I'm in a flannel.
Not the outfit for Laval.
Not even close. Everyone there was dressed to the absolute nine. I had more money than I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the outfits there, I was like,
it's like a suit and tie kind of spot. Like, I mean,
well, now I see like people come to Toronto, like celebrities go there.
Yeah.
Like I don't fit in there. I ordered
absolutely not.
I don't know what I think I ordered a rum and coke because he did, and I didn't want to tell him I want a vodka cran.
Safe bet.
I've gotten extensive bullying from Jaydon for ordering vodka crans.
It's not so much like I've definitely bullied you. It's not that it's not an industry drink. Cranberry is going to make your hangover way worse. Like it's sugary. So why not just, I get you don't like the taste of vodka, but like try literally anything else.
But JD Honey ruined it all for me. Whiskey, rum, the whole nine. I can't do any of that. I literally, if I have a sip of JD Honey, rum or whiskey, I instantly start gagging. You saw when I sent you that Snapchat when I was home, I was like, I'm going to try and take a shot of this for the first time in 4 years. And
you just aren't built different, eh?
I'm not built different. Everyone, and I tell people that, and they'll be like, yeah, no, it'll come with time. And I was like, I swear to God, I don't see a day in my future where I can ever drink rum.
You know what? To give you credit, and obviously, like, if we were going beer for beer, and like I would never actually admit this, but like if we were going beer
we got it on record here now.
If we were going beer for beer, like it's definitely.
Don't give me liquor. You can take the liquor trophy all you want.
That's what I like. You can definitely pound back a lot of beers. I've seen you crush and like still be like functional. Like you're fine. Like you put back like 18 beers in like 2 hours like less.
Don't tell my mom that. She'd be mortified.
Oh, yikes. It's on the pod now.
Yeah. But one tequila shot's equivalent of however X amount of beers for me.
Absolutely.
It'll ruin everything.
It's because you think about it. You're too in your head about it. It's a placebo.
I have a reason to be when you throw up on your table.
I've
been mortified to that. Like, I'm just like, if I make an absolute fool of myself, then I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And what are we at here? Holy shit, we're at time. All right. Well, our free Zoom call. We're on a budget here. We don't pay for no subscription, but our free Zoom call is the recording's coming up. It was great having you. Definitely want to have you back on.
It was great to be here. I hope this could be a recurring thing sometime.
We will have to, because I know we didn't touch on half the stories that we have.
Oh yeah, there's so
again
much
all
more.
PG-13.
Try to keep it PG-13.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on.
All right,
I'll see you later.
Sounds good.
Okay,
it's a pleasure.
Yeah, peace. Well, thought that was an absolute banger interview. We had an absolute blast. We were just firing away, rambling on, talking about all the weird, dumb shit we've done. It was super fun, though. We had some good laughs. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. We're on all major streaming platforms, Apple, iTunes, YouTube, the whole nine. I also have an Instagram now, Broken Boney, spelled exactly like the podcast name. You can find me on Instagram. Give it a follow if you like. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy responsibly.